Welcome to Plantish Live, fam. I'm Nina Curtis. My co-host Cecivec Randall and I go live Tuesdays 9 a.m., 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Yes, it's Taco Tuesday, and you know I'll be getting into some tacos somehow today. It is also Take Care of Business Tuesday, so we are going to be taking care of business, and it is also World Bee Day, and we are excited. World Bee Day is be inspired to nourish us all, and we have the perfect guest that is going to be joining us to do just that. What it do, Chef?
Chef, we did it again.
What it do? What it do?
Oh, you guys, this was not planned. It never is.
Somebody is watching me. Hello, fam. Thank you for coming in. Be kind. Yes. Be nourishing. Be. We are excited for today, World Bee Day. It's Taco Tuesday. It's Take Care of Business Day. And Chef Cecivec and I have connected with the perfect. Hey, twinning. Yeah, we up here twinning. You
Winning.
know what we're doing, what we're about. We have the perfect guest today joining us. She is Venessa Stonehouse. She is the co-founder and CEO of Bee MindfulFÜD, the makers of, let me get I'm so excited, Chef. Let me slow down. Let me just slow down. I'm super excited.
That's me
She
too.
is the co-founder and CEO of Mindful FUD, the makers of Bee Mindful Honey, and that's HUNNIE. She makes plant-based honey from organic rescued apples. You know that vision, Chef? I just imagine her like when we're rescuing animals. I just imagine her, um, you know, running after these apples that are trying to get away. We
Absolutely, yeah.
we have to see how Venessa does this. But welcome in, fam. Thank you for coming in, everyone that's joining us. Good morning, Jen Foods. How have you been? It's been too long. So great to see you. We look forward to everyone joining in the comments as Vanessa comes in, as she will be momentarily. Let's keep the chat going. Let's keep the hearts coming and just welcome her as our Plantish Live community does so well. And we are going to get into this. I know she'll be joining us shortly.
Absolutely.
Let's see. We'll give her a minute. But Chef, how you doing over there?
Oh, I'm feeling so good, Chef. Just coming back from a much needed vacation, so feeling relaxed and settled and just getting back into my routine.
Yeah. Can you share where you went, or is that no,
Oh,
no, no?
yeah, absolutely. I went to Puerto Rico. I went to
Um,
a wellness resort by the name of La Botanica. It is 100% vegan, and it was just a magical experience. First time in Puerto Rico. So, yeah, it was just very healing, very relaxing. Did yoga every morning. They served Ayurvedic vegan breakfast every day, tea, all the things. It was just a magical experience. So I came back just feeling recharged and, just ready for new beginnings. I done cut my hair off and everything. So yeah, just stepping into this new season ready.
I love the cut. It's super fine, Chef, super fine. You should have been walking at the Met Gala. Hello, Vanessa. Welcome,
Absolutely.
Hello.
welcome, welcome.
Nice to thanks so much for having me.
Oh, we are so excited. Officially, Vanessa meet Cecivec Randall, Vanessa
Nice to meet you.
Stonehouse.
Me
It is World Bee Day, fam. If you're just coming in, share with us where you're tapping in from. Share with us your beverage of the morning. Are you a tea drinker, a coffee drinker, a juice drinker, or just hydrating with water? Vanessa, how is your day starting?
Good. This is a really important day for mindful food, so I'm really excited. It just gives me the opportunity to really talk about something that's so important to me that usually doesn't get talked about. So
Yeah.
it might be something, that most people don't realize is B Day, but it's a really important day for me.
Yes, and I love the theme of the year, even though they may not know how important plant-based, um, alternatives, or I just think plant-based products in the
Right.
the honey world are. It is the theme is be inspired by nature to nourish us all. So we handpicked Vanessa because we know she is going to inspire us all. Please ask any questions that you have in the chat. You know how we do, fam. We check in with you. You are a part of this chat. You are not just a voyeur. We don't do that here. We get involved. We let our voices be heard. And Vanessa, so let's get into this. Tell me how you went how did you get here where you are today? What was a bit of your path? And I know that could be like, a whole book,
It's yeah,
but the
it's definitely a whole
highlight,
book.
like a movie, like a
Yeah.
movie. Tell us how you got to sitting with us today.
Yeah, so I started a healthy meal delivery service in Vancouver in 2015. And then a few years into the business, overnight, I went vegan, and so did the entire business. And we were one of the only meal delivery service that offered all vegan, whole plant-based foods for, it was about 3 years. And it was a really scary switch to be able to go, all of our customers obviously ate meat because that's what we served, and then overnight, without telling anyone, I just made it all plant-based. And but the business just got better after that, which was really surprising and encouraging. And it really catapulted the business because everyone, I think, was surprised that they liked the food so much. And so it really, we gained a lot of traction through that change. And then in 2021, unfortunately, the business burnt down in a fire, and I lost everything. And it kind of, that's how the business turned from being Feed Me Fit, the meal delivery service, to MindfulFÜD. I moved to Salmon Arm, which is a little small town 5 hours from Vancouver, and it's like orchard area, and all the apples I noticed right away were going to waste. So I started collecting apples, and I was literally like the apple lady in town. Everyone was dropping off their apples to me, and I didn't really know what I was going to do with them, but um, food waste was always a big thing to me. I grew up with Croatian grandparents, and there was just no waste allowed at any time. So I started collecting these apples, and because I was vegan myself, I missed having a honey alternative that wasn't just sugar. And I was so sick of eating maple syrup on every single thing that I ate. So I called my chef at the time, who's now my business partner, and I was like, "Do you think we can make honey from apples?" And he was like, "What are you going to make me do now?" And so we went to work, and it took us 3 years to really perfect the recipe and make it taste enough like honey, but also be its own thing, to not, have to completely replicate and make something, exactly the same as bee honey, but it has its own thing. And all the comments that we originally got were, "How'd you get the bees to pollinate the apples? It tastes like, has like an apple tint to it." So that's why we called it honey and spelt it a little different.
Yeah, I love that. So on World Bee Day, how does that align with your mission? Because most people, in the conversations and some of the conferences going on about this are talking about obviously the plight of bees. We know this has been going on for a while, but how does that impact your mission and what you're doing? And I just want people to understand, because we've had this conversation, the three of us, and we hear bits and pieces of it,
Mhm.
but we don't really understand the depth of
Yeah.
it.
Well, I think that it's great that everyone understands the importance of bees, because that's kind of half the battle.
Yeah.
We wouldn't survive on the planet without bees. And I think most people understand that now. But the disconnect is that we are never educated to that bee honey is the bee's only food source. So the same people that are trying to save the bees are also eating bee honey, because it is a superfood. There is a lot of health benefits to it. But just because something, I mean, it's not ours to take, right? So if something is so important to the planet and for our food to eat, then it's probably something that we should leave to the bees to be able to eat, so they can continue doing their job, especially when there's alternatives that are, somewhat equal, especially when it comes to, the way that it's being used in one-on-one recipes and things like that. There's no difference. You don't have to change anything. And that was really important to us in the beginning, was making it so, you didn't have to change anything around and make your life more difficult by using our product. To use exactly the same as you would bee honey. So I think that the biggest disconnect is that people don't realize that bee honey is the bee's food and they can't survive without it.
Yeah. Yeah. And, we know in the commercial market, can you tap in on the fact that the honey is bees' food? So we know there is a lack of bee honey. And what some of the honey people think is made directly from the bees, to the degree you can say this comfortably, publicly, what is happening on the shelves? Because there are certain, regulations that allow brands to make a product and call it something and it not really be the degree that the consumer is thinking it is, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things to that. I mean, I think if anyone Googles, bee honey in North America, they'll find lots of articles about how most of it is just corn syrup, because the bees can't produce that much honey. So it's just mixed with corn syrup. And there's really no regulations on bee honey and importing bee honey from other areas in the world, to bring it in and still be able to call it honey when it's actually not honey at all. We did a kind of supposed to be a fun test in the beginning of testing all bee honey against ours, and we just picked randomly off the shelf, and the majority of the bee honey found on the shelf that only has honey as an ingredient is actually just corn syrup. So it's that's again something that people don't know. And then there's, things like when bee honey is called organic. It took me years to get organic certification, but I'm always questioning, like, how do they know where the bees went? How do you know that that's organic? Why did I have to work so hard to get that certification? But there's no way of proving where the bees pollinated to be able to call that organic. So there's a lot of things that happen in the bee industry that is just not being questioned. But it should be questioned, because there's a lot of things that don't make sense.
What has been the feedback or reaction when people taste Bee Mindful Honey?
Yeah, I think that's the best part, is that everyone loves it once they try it. I think it's hard for me to get people to try it. It's very important for us. Yeah, there we go.
I have one too.
Yeah. So I think the hard part is getting people to try it, because they're like, what would this taste like? We're the first person, to my knowledge, we're the first company to make honey from rescued apples. So no one knows what it is on the shelf. And that's why I wanted to call it honey, to kind of give you the idea on the shelf of, what this could taste like. So, but once people try it, they love it. And, um, it's not meant for just vegans. My way of looking at it is, I want someone who's not vegan to try vegan products and like it, so they're more open to trying other vegan products.
Yes.
You don't have to be perfect. Not everyone goes vegan overnight like I did, and you don't have to be like that. I'd rather the welcome mat be open for everyone to be more open to trying the products than just, only being for a vegan person. It's just like maple syrup. Not people who aren't vegan eat maple syrup all the time, right? It doesn't have to be a plant-based or just a vegan product. It's just nice to be able to have that option for people who don't eat animal products.
Understood. Chef, what are you doing over there?
So I'm over here. I just got back in town and I received these wonderful honeys from you, Vanessa, and I have not had a chance to try them yet.
Oh,
So
so this is like a live.
I'm a tea lover. I love tea. So I have me some peppermint mullein tea right here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and make me
Okay,
a cup of tea
this
right
this
now.
is the live tasting.
Right, this is
This is
super
a
honest.
blind tasting. And
I like tasting, but
Vanessa, Chef Sesabek is vegan since birth.
That's
like, you
amazing.
guys, look at that. That is insane. Wow.
We worked very hard. My business partner is the, production side and recipe side. He has a background. He's been a chef since he was 18 years old.
Wow.
And I'm very particular. So I did want it to be, if you keep it shelf stable and just keep it in your cupboard, it can be more of a syrup texture. And I think that's what people like a lot about it. Like, I was trying to make it
Yes.
thick for so many of the first years of producing it, but then I realized after, asking customers that that's not actually what they like about bee honey. That's just how it comes.
Mhm.
I need to see. I was like, I
Oh
need to see his
wow.
initial reaction.
Mm.
What it do, chef?
Oh wow. I'm experiencing so much right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you get
Oh.
like on the side of your tongue, you get like
Mm.
that honey texture. I think that's why, people thought it was bee honey when we first started making it, but then you get the refreshing taste at the end from
Yeah.
the apple.
Yeah. Oh my
Um,
goodness.
and did you
That's
refrigerate yours?
yes, I did.
Yeah. So then it gets like that, viscosity of more like bee honey, which some people like, some people don't. Again, that's kind
Yeah.
of the benefit. You can put it in the fridge for a thicker consistency or keep it out for a thinner consistency, and they're a little bit different. But you can use it for everything that way.
Oh my goodness. So I'm from the South and I grew up eating biscuits, vegan, of
Yeah,
course.
which
Put
is
a
so cool.
little syrup on it, but I'm thinking about that. And I have the hot one right here. I'm trying to next, but I'm gonna sip this
You
tea right here.
know what? A lot of people put the hot honey in their tea,
Mm.
for like a little kick when they're sick, because it's not super hot. We made it so, just the average person who likes a little bit of a kick in their food likes it. I like to sweat when I eat, so it's not hot for me.
Me too.
But it just has that nice, just a little bit of
Look at
kick.
Chef,
that. Look
chef,
at that.
watch the hot one. Watch the hot one.
Watch the hot one.
It's
I
not
like it
plain.
spicy. You
Okay,
see,
take
I'm
it.
wearing red today.
I
I
just
like
want to
it hot.
let you know if you start sweating, it's okay.
Hold on.
I'm
Okay, hold
just
on.
telling you.
Let's put a little bit on there.
Go for it, chef. All the fire emojis, fam. Let's go.
Ooh.
I told you. I told you, chef. Vanessa is
As
not
I say, it's
over
not
here
hot.
playing. Take
Oh,
a sip of your tea.
you did that, Vanessa. You did that. I got to give it to you. Ooh,
Yeah,
it
and it's
creeps up on you, but it's not overbearing, and it's
right.
a nice balance between sweet and heat.
Yeah.
So I would air fry some tofu and
Oh yeah.
then toss that on. Oh my goodness, some
Yeah.
popcorn tofu with
We eat
that. Oh
that a
my
lot
gosh.
around my house. It's just an easy glaze. Again, because it's spreadable and not hard to toss, it's great for, any kind of like glazing proteins. We do a lot of tofu at my house, even roasting vegetables,
Yeah.
using it as a dipping sauce for spring rolls, or, there's so many different ways to be able to use it. And it's not a hot sauce, so it doesn't burn your mouth. It does give you that kick once you, because lots of
Yes.
people are like, oh, that's not, and then they swallow and they're like, okay, wait, it has a kick because it comes
Right.
afterwards.
Mm.
I dehydrated some kiwi the other day. I have no proof of it because I ate them so fast, but I drizzled the honey,
Oh,
the your honey on it, and then I rolled them in coconut shreds.
oh,
And they that tart of the kiwi and then the sweet of the honey, and then it was unsweetened coconut shreds, and then that it was just like a
right,
chip.
right.
But sometimes I don't dehydrate them as far, and it is like the best natural gummy bears you'll ever want
I'll have to
with
try
the
that.
kiwi. So
I love
delicious,
how
so delicious.
other like what ideas other people come up with. Like it's fun watching my Instagram and see
Yes.
people tag us and how they use it. I find like so many people are more creative than me, and it's really neat the different ways that they think of using it. I mean, someone would, just the other day used it to sweeten, like made a hot honey margarita.
Oh,
So it was
nice.
like it's such a cool idea, and you don't really like think about everything all the time, and it's just like nice to see how other people choose to use it.
Yes. Chef, can you see if how the chat is chatting while you're trying to get your those
Getting my mind
flavor
right.
bombs in your
Yeah.
mouth?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I'm just waiting to have lunch after this because my mind is already going. I'm thinking kale, massaging the kale. Okay. So let's
Yeah.
tune into the comments here. So love the reaction. Sounds delicious from Tishana. Beekeeping actually does the opposite of saving bees. We need to buzz off and leave them alone. I agree. From Justin
Oh.
Manning. And yes, we're getting a lot of yum, a lot of love, a lot of hearts. And yeah, that's it for now.
I love it, because you just do something like this and you've got the bee. But when you do like this, I mean, how can you not salivate, right? It's just like so crave worthy. Crave is our word, Vanessa, that it doesn't matter what the food, well, kind of. But when we talk about craveable food, plant-based food is food. It's
Yeah.
our first food. It's food from the ground. It's food that, you know, if the bees are going to pollinate the flowers, I mean, obviously, and the fruits and all that they do, we should take note of that. And I love when I first tasted it, I love the apple blossom that came up right away. And then me being a person not vegan since birth, knowing what bee honey tastes like, I
Right.
was already into the organic, knowing the beekeeper and, you know, just the flavors and the levels of flavors that would come up. So what rolled off my tongue was first that apple blossom flavor, I'm going to define it as, which is a bit lighter than actually what you think an apple biting into a crisp
Right.
apple.
Yes.
And then the honey rolled up for me, and I could taste it really predominantly, and it stayed. It was like the base note, right? And then you've got the top note because have worked in perfumery and aromatherapy, so I'm
Okay.
relating it that way in my
Okay.
head. And then the other thing I loved about it, like you said, if you want to refrigerate it, and you gave me that tip, so
Mhm.
thank you. If I wanted it a bit thicker, the hot honey is already that way. And I'm thinking the peppers, the chilies are having that, you know, reaction,
They
chemical
do.
reaction to thicken it
Yes.
with probably also the pectin. But if you want to put it in the refrigerator to give it a bit more viscosity, you can do that. But I do love the fact that if it is at room temperature, I can pour it like I do maple syrup. Maple syrup is having a moment right now over here on my counter, like, okay, okay, I see you, honey. And I love that she can play on be mindful, honey, like, come on, honey,
Yeah.
HUNNIE, be mindful of what's happening,
Exactly.
right?
And and that's why we called the business Mindful Food, is because I just wanted people to be mindful of the food that they eat. It's not judging anyone about how they
I
eat.
know.
It's just being more aware and really understanding how it gets to your plate, because that's, again, like I said, part of the struggle is people don't understand the process of what it takes to get something into the jar or onto your plate or whatever it is. And so when we called it honey, I was like, how perfect. And then that's like we can put the name of the business in there and call it like Be Mindful Honey, because it just, yeah, we just want people to be more mindful.
I have to ask you, what made you go vegan overnight?
You know what? It's like it was one video that you think after all the other horrifying videos that I saw, those would have been the things to make me go vegan. But it was one video at the same time as also finding out that my mom had cancer. And so overnight, I was like, okay, I have a meal delivery service. You know, they always talk about eating plant-based is the number one way to, you know, either reverse or stop or help at least the cancer cells. So I was like, I'm just going to start making all your food for you, and we're going to go plant-based now. And that's kind of how it started, and I've just never looked back, because all of the other things that happened in that transition from, you know, I for years I had, from 15 years old, I had high blood pressure, I had cystic acne, I had joint problems, I had migraines. Every single thing was gone in 3 weeks.
Wow.
Every single thing. And I swear I haven't aged since then.
We love
I
that.
still look 30.
We love that. And it's okay. We're all aging. We know
Yeah.
that. But I don't think we have to succumb to the fact, oh, well, we're going to get older and we're just going to look
No.
this way. And, you know, when what we see aesthetically is actually showing us that what's happening in the body. And I don't think when people talk about arthritis, or I hear really young people talking about, oh, my back aches, my knees ache, that is
Yeah.
aging. And so we should
100%.
be doing everything like we go and work out or move. I'm going to say some people just move. Don't get caught up in, I don't want to go in a gym. Just move your body like nobody's watching. Who cares? We're on the social media channels. We know we do things that, you know, we're like, what did I just do? Do that dance.
Yeah.
But I think we have to be mindful of, we should be our temple. It's the only one we
Yeah.
have. And so we
And
should be doing everything possible. And it doesn't have to be considered. If I'm fighting every day to not age, I am just respecting my body. It's not, it's the aesthetic aspect that society has put on
right.
aging, right?
But the way you feel when you stop eating animal products is something
Yes.
that is not, you can't explain. And I guess
Can't explain.
you've been vegan since birth, so you don't know the difference, but it really is. I it was really like life changing. I don't know how else to explain the feeling, and now I don't have, like, I literally still feel like I'm 30. and I do a lot to my body to, I live in farmland for, half the time I am in Vancouver, a lot because of work, but it's like I'm not easy on myself, and I feel like I can do so much more now with the energy that I have and all of the kind of ailments that disappeared with making this change.
What are some of the highlighted, I'll say, testimonies that you've received that stick in your head that let you know I'm doing the right thing at the right time in the right moment?
Yeah, I think I mean, it comes in different ways. I feel because I live in a small town and there's a lot of farmers and hunters. I'm the token vegan in town. There's only 15,000 of us. And so I also help with a food truck in the town with my best friend, and we have a vegan option on the truck because I'm there. And so all these hunters and farmers will come to the truck and try the vegan option, and they love it. And it always obviously has our honey on it in some way or another. And it gives me the option to talk to these people. And the fact that they're so open to eating this food when they've never really been introduced to it, or it's never been a conversation, they've never known a vegan person before, they're really intrigued. And it's encouraging that, people are open to it because it's just food. I mean, just because it doesn't have animal products doesn't mean it doesn't taste good. It's just not the norm for a lot of us. So it just seems like it was going to be weird, but it's not weird at all.
Yeah.
I'm very much whole food, plant-based, just making cool creation. When someone's like, well, you made a chicken burger out of, whatever it is, it could be, there's all different kinds of recipes, but I think they're more like intrigued in the fact that you can make something out of something else. Although, sometimes on social media you say like, why do vegans always want to eat something that tastes like meat or looks like meat? It's like, because those things taste good. I didn't go vegan because those things didn't taste good. I'm just not going to eat it because I don't need to eat something from an animal when I can make it from something from plants that tastes equally as good,
Sure.
you know?
Sure. We have a question from Landa Pack. They're asking, did it help your mom when you had her go plant-based?
It definitely did. I feel like even just her mindset uh reset by eating differently. She's never been vegan or been around a vegan person or, done anything. So I think it was challenging but easier because I had this meal delivery service and I could make her all the meals that I wanted. So it definitely helped. And still, I mean, she didn't stay vegan, but that's her choice. But she definitely makes huge changes now. Like I'm with them right now, actually, at their house, and so I think that the just having that in her head now and making those choices at the grocery store and not eating meat and choosing between different choices. I'll come to the house and she'll be, look, I have this vegan cheese. Oh, look, I have this vegan milk, and look, I have like she's proud to show me that she's made these changes, and that's all you can ask of people.
That's
You can't make people change, nor do I want to make people change. I want people to move at the pace that is comfortable for them, so then it lasts, right? I mean, obviously, as vegans, we want everyone to just, make the switch, and that would be, great. But also, I didn't go vegan overnight, right? Like I said, I watched these videos. I followed a lot of vegan influencers. I did this, and I didn't make the change. And I know now, being vegan for almost 10 years, that it's, I wish that I made the change sooner, but I can't judge people for what path they're on now.
Yeah. I think that's what I hear most vegans that have transitioned, vegans that have been since birth. This is what they know, chef, right? And then those that say, oh, I wish I had gone earlier. I came into veganism 25 years ago while I was bodybuilding competitively, natural bodybuilding, and it was my body's choice. I hadn't really tapped into, and there weren't that many documentaries the same as they are today, but my recovery time was faster. I felt stronger. I didn't lack anything. So that was a no-brainer for me. And I was already studying nutrition. So, plant-based food is our first medicine. Food is medicine, which I've studied in my work intensively. And I think people go to that if they think about it, whether it's herbs or those things we turn to, hot lemon and water with cayenne, a little maple, the master fast that people do. And so when people say, I could never go vegan, I like, do you like fruit? Do you like
Yeah.
vegetables? So vegan is a lifestyle, but the plants are what we're talking about. And I'm just so excited that there is, I want to say thank you to Darko for introducing us with Melody Honey, because I've tried throughout my vegan life and even before, plant-based honeys. And while they all tasted good, knowing what honey tastes like, I was always like, well, not so much for me, but maybe my mom or dad, like you say, who aren't vegan. But my mom always served a lot of plant-based
Right.
foods when I was growing up. I was always thinking about the person that saw the label that said vegan honey, and in their head they caught honey and said, okay, let me try this. And then it wasn't what they expected.
Yes.
So with Melody, my first introduction to something, I really was like, okay, here we go. And then Darko introducing us and connecting, and Asha also,
Yeah,
one of
that was
our
great.
favorites with Kula Foods.
Yeah,
We know you both are know each other well. It's a small community, but it's an impactful
it is.
community. We are
Really
getting
is.
things done, right? We're change makers, and I really, really love that. Chef, I know you have some questions for Venessa that we love to do, and I'll let you take it away.
Absolutely. First, I just want to say, Vanessa, I love your journey, your story, and how engaged you are with, just everything that you stand for.
Thank you.
It's beautiful. And yeah, so quick fire. You
Okay,
can answer these questions in 30
on the
seconds, couple
spot.
sentences, however you feel called. So the first question I have for you is, what is your go-to comfort food?
uh, like what comfort food is my comfort
Yeah,
food?
so what is like your comfort meal like on a rainy day?
I always make like a big stir fry, like a noodle bowl. I can eat noodle bowls all day long. My best friend eats so many noodle bowls with me because it's like she has mastered the crispy tofu with the hot honey, and so she does that part, and I just like I love a good noodle bowl. I don't. It's almost like Chinese food to me, but just has like a more refreshing twist, and I feel like I miss Chinese food a lot when yeah, she already chimed in, spicy noodle bowls. We eat a lot of them.
Oh, beautiful. I know what I'm having for
Yeah.
lunch.
No, it's just because you can add all the vegetables in there and, get all the flavors in there, have a hearty meal, and it has all the flavors that I'm looking for. So that's always kind of my go-to. And then like a cheat comfort meal would have to be like a plant-based fillet of fish. I have this weird thing with a fillet of fish. I just missed it so much. It's the only animal protein I've ever craved since being vegan. And so having a plant-based fillet of fish is definitely the other like cheat kind of comfort meal that's not a whole food plant-based, but the comfort one.
Absolutely. Well, yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. Beautiful.
Two very different things, I know.
Right. Yeah, but it works.
Yeah.
uh, the next question I have for you is, if you weren't working in food, what would you be doing?
You know what? I've always worked in food. I actually dropped out of high school in grade 10 and I started a food truck and I had it for years until that morphed into the healthy meal delivery service, which was the opposite food of what I made on the food truck. And then it morphed into this. So I've never known any different. Um, so I don't know what else I would be doing. I've thought about that numerous times. Obviously, being an entrepreneur, there's so many ups and downs, especially in the CPG business. I'm like, am I going to make it? Like, is this who can survive through all of these, like it's a roller coaster every single day of ups and downs. So I've thought about what else I would do, and I love this. I don't know what else I would do because I really love this. The honey gives me an opportunity to talk about something that's important to me, and food is always the best way to win people over and get them to kind of listen a little bit more. I just wish I wasn't the only person really, yeah, doing it in Canada. Like you mentioned, Darko, like he has Melody, and it's always like so nice for me to be able to have someone else there that's speaking the same language as me and mission aligned. And so yeah, but yeah, I don't know what else I would do. Honestly, this has just been me for as long as I've known.
That's so beautiful. Your story is so inspiring. Oh my goodness. I can't wait to look back at this recording and just relish in everything that you've shared. It's so amazing.
Thank you.
Okay. Next question. Sweet, salty, or umami?
It's the umami for me. Like I use our hot honey a lot more than I use the regular honey because I mean, like I said, I like to sweat when I eat, so it's like I love the spice, but it has this umami that is it's great for so many different things. So I love the salty. Like I'm not. It's funny. Like obviously the honey is sweet, but I'm not a sweets person in the sense of chocolate and candies and cakes and those kinds of things. I mean, if I find like a plant-based cinnamon bun, I'm gonna eat five of them. Um,
Yes.
but they're very few and
Same.
far between. So there's certain things that I love that are sweets, but for the most part, I love the umami.
Same. Oh my goodness. Are we twins because you said the cinnamon bun? I mean, that is so me.
Cinnamon buns are like, yeah, I have. There's a special place in my heart for those things. There's just, and it's very like rare to find one. I don't know, like in the U.S. if it's easier for you guys to have, plant-based options like that. But yeah, here there's a few bakeries that do a fantastic job at a plant-based option, but they don't always have the cinnamon bun.
Right, yeah, it's so rare to find them. I always have to make them myself,
Right.
and yeah, I don't
I'm
mind it.
not a
But
baker.
sometimes you just want to go and just grab a cinnamon bun and just
Yeah.
enjoy it and get rid of
Yeah.
it. But wow, okay. Last question I have for you is, when you step foot in the kitchen, are you listening to music? What is like your routine? Like, how do you get into that cooking vibe
Yeah.
spirit?
Yeah, so everyone used to kind of make fun of me at my kitchen. Like we had quite a few employees at Feed Me Fit before that business burnt down. So I'm the only one that listened to country. We all kind of grew up listening to hip hop, R&B, like that kind of that the genre. I all of my friends, that was kind of like all we listened to. And then I moved to a small town, and all I listened to was country. And I'm just
Um,
obsessed with country now. It's such a good storytelling music. So we're always in my house listening to some sort of country now.
Do you have a favorite artist?
So I just went to Stagecoach in California, and I would say Jelly Roll is up there with Luke Combs. Those going to be my two favorite, but Tucker Wetmore is also a favorite. So I can't choose. It depends on the mood and the vibe and what I'm thinking.
Oh, so beautiful. Wow. Okay. Okay. That's so beautiful. I'm gonna definitely check out the other two you said. I know the Chris. But yeah, thank you so much for answering
Of
those
course.
questions. That was amazing. You did great.
Thank you.
You survived. We didn't make you take a tablespoon of your own hot honey.
I ran out. I don't even have any here. My mom
Oh
was
my
just telling
God.
me, like, you need to restock us. We don't even have any.
That's like the shoemakers.
Yeah. I
Yes.
know. It's because we go through a lot wherever we are, and my parents are always giving out samples to people in their building and all this stuff. They're kind of, I always say, like, my name might be on the papers for the person that owns this business, but it's like all the people that are around me that really make it survive. Because I couldn't do it without them, from my friends to my family to, everyone, all my customers. Everyone really helps to keep this business afloat.
And that's really with anything. We know today community, especially in the times that we are in, community matters. And, whether it's someone tapping on the screen, sending you hearts and fire emojis, or just being present, it is community that's going to make a difference. What's your vision for the future? I'm going to narrow it down for the future of plant-based sweeteners. What do you see happening?
I mean, I hope that more people, kind of come along this, ride with me. And, like we just have three ingredients. It's not, anything that it's going to surprise you on the ingredients list. And that's kind of what I was trying to create, and I want more people to do the same thing. I don't want just a sugar that pours. And to call that a vegan honey alternative, although it technically is, like it can be made from real food. Even we're going to try doing different fruit and make different kinds of things, because all this fruit really is going to waste, and there's no one else is using it for anything else. And so I do wish that there's other people to kind of help me along this way with when it comes to marketing and education, and, letting consumers know of how big this issue is, because it seems like I'm just this little person trying to tell the whole world, this is how we save the world. And it's like such a big conversation that no one is talking about. So I do hope other people I never thought that I would hope that there was, competitors. But just like Darko and I have become friends, it's, you don't think of it as competitors when you're mission aligned. We're both on the same, path trying to tell the same thing. And if there was more people doing it, maybe it would become more of a conversation in everyday life.
Sure. Yeah, we know that we need, if the product is by itself out there, there's not going to be the demand because unfortunately people aren't going to think that, well, it's a trend or it's even important, or they're not even going to hear about it because you can't reach everyone, although we can reach more people. How would you define mindful FUD in 3 words?
Um, it's really kind of what I said before, I think, is that we called it mindful food because I wanted people to be more mindful of the food that they eat. And that's really like the basis of the whole business is just being more mindful of the food that you eat. And just with that in mind, with every grocery shop, you will see different things on your plate when you think about what you're cooking.
Okay. So when we see FUD, we pronounce it food.
Yeah,
Okay.
it has an
Mindful
umlaut over
food.
it. I always say one day I'll be a household name and everyone will know that it's mindful food, but we get it all the time. Everyone's like, mindful FUD is here. I'm like, it's food. But we will be a household name one day and everyone will know. I mean, everyone from Europe always, sees the umlaut, but in North America, we don't ever see that. It was like a play on having a smiley face, on like the U and things like that. So, but yeah, if you see like my email, you're not going to see the umlaut. If you see, which is how we've connected. So,
Yes.
but yes, it is mindful food.
Well, you should take inspiration from the viral, it's corn,
Yeah.
that went so far. You could say it's food
Yeah.
and have fun with that. What do you want? We have people that are consuming the product. I mean, we're all consuming the product ideally, and we have people that are in the industry.
Right.
What would you say to anyone that's watching now? We have a lot of people that watch when we post the replay. What
Right.
would you say to them as inspiration that are in food service or food service operators about following their dream, not being afraid to have a meal delivery service that you've been successful at and decide overnight with not even giving much warning that you're going to go plant-based, and then having something traumatic happen to you and still the resistance, because I think that's the connection with the bees. They're very resistant, and I'm hearing a lot of you are resilient, not
Right.
resistant. You're resilient in the things. I'm hearing your story. What would you say to anyone listening right now, in business or not?
Yeah, I mean, I think in business, you have to be resilient. You
Yeah.
have to kind of roll with the punches because they do come. And that's why it's so important to build the community around you because sometimes you feel like you're crazy for going through all these things and like, is this really worth it? Even though you love what you do, like, is anyone listening? Is this gonna, go anywhere? Like I said, because we're one of the only ones or the only one in Canada that's like a honey alternative, it is discouraging, but I think when it comes to the food service side, we make it easy for chefs and CPG brands to make a product with our product because it is a one-on-one swap. So if they want to have a plant-based option, and we're a quarter of the price, which is always nicer for those CPG brands that are trying to reduce their cost of goods. And so there's not really a reason to not try it. And I think that then you're opening up a whole new customer base of people that haven't been able to try your product before because you use bee honey, and it's just an easy swap.
And you make a point of the price affordable, with the case of eggs, and we've seen that the, prices going up and the lack of it. We're seeing the same thing with bees. I don't know if people are realizing the cost of honey is going up. And
Right.
sometimes you just go in the store and grab what we're used to grabbing, and we don't even really look at the price of things, but we're having and seeing that same situation happening. So plant-based alternatives, and we're speaking today about Be Mindful Honey made by MindfulFÜD. We're seeing that, these things have an impact and they are affordable. Because I always hear, Chef and I always tap in on eating plant-based isn't more expensive. It's your choice of what you grab,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah, it can be more expensive because if you're going to buy the alternatives, and they're fine for some things, but it's not the excuse to use if that's what you're using to not try plant-based, because it's I mean, I own a small business. I'm on a budget all the time. You know, and I eat amazing, like look like gourmet meals. I mean, I post them all the time on my page. So it just for, and sometimes they don't even have the honey. I just want to show people, you know, what a plant-based meal looks like. So I'll just post my breakfast, lunch, and dinner just to be able to show people. And sometimes it's pretty and sometimes it's not, but it just to give you that idea. You know, you can still hash browns, and you know, I make like chickpea egg, and you know, there's lots of different things that you can do. And it's also fun to make like bacon out of rice paper, or you know, it's just like, it's, you know, if you have that creativity in you, it's really fun to do.
That's awesome. What have we not touched on that you would like to speak to? Because this is evergreen. So sometimes, you know, you get off and you go, I wish I had been asked this, or I wish I had brought this up. Is there anything that you would, especially on World Bee Day and the theme being be inspired by nature to nourish us all?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we've been good at, you guys definitely asked a lot of questions that I love to answer. Again, like I said, kind of prior to this call, is that I never get the opportunity on, you know, with a new audience to be able to talk about the things that I love to talk about. And really, you know, protecting the bees and just like making that connection is so important to me. And there's not a lot of places to be able to talk about it when you're just a, you know, a small business in Canada that, you know, a lot of people don't know about. So we are launching in the US. So we will be available in the US soon. I'll be updating our store locator on our website. So everyone, this will be coming in the next, you know, I want to say few weeks, but just a month, just in case. It's close. So you can find us on our website. And hopefully we start appearing in, you know, restaurants soon, like we've done in Canada. We're in about 500 stores across Canada. And we have a couple, probably about 2 dozen restaurants and CPG brands and stuff like that that carry us as an ingredient on their menus or in their products. So I want to replicate the same thing in the US, but we're definitely like a slow and steady wins the race kind of business, and because we want to last. And so I just want to make sure that we're making all the right moves and doing all the things that we do. We bootstrap everything ourselves. So um, yeah, you can always check on our website and our social media for all the updates.
And I've pinned, fam, because it will disappear when we put the replay, mindfulfud.com, and that's MindfulFUD, just to be clear, but it's pronounced mindful food. We all know now, so we know, and we can share that with others. Hello, Coco and C. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for joining us, one of our favorite guests. Also, Vanessa, we always ask so that we have it, record of it, that's evergreen. We would love to have you come back, especially, you know, when you launch in the US. And do you have any that you can share with us? Do you have, as far as mindful food expansion ideas?
When it comes to where we'll be or product.
Product,
Um,
product.
so that's a hard one.
Yeah.
It's we've decided at the moment to stick with just the two honeys, because again, I mean, that's like a whole other conversation. But getting into CPG, launching new SKUs, it's so costly. And I wanted to focus on what we know and our base ingredients. We do have about, you know, 9 recipes, from honey mustard to honey garlic, honey barbecue. There's so many different sauces that we used to make with the Feed Me Fit meal delivery, that we want to make into, you know, mindful food and the Bee Mindful Honey, but it's a very costly project to bring on all new SKUs. So I think as we grow, we want to. It's just we have to see that traction first, and we have to, you know, prove ourselves on the shelves at a lot of these places too. You know, a lot of the retailers are like, oh, like, I don't know, like you're the only one doing this, and we have to go into demos. I mean, like you brought up Asha from Kula Foods. We work like side by side together all the time. We do a lot of demos together in Toronto because we're both not currently in Toronto. So getting the word out in areas that we don't live in is really hard because no one, you know, it's really hard to stay on the retailer shelf. It takes years to get on, but it's so much harder to get off when it comes to sales, if you have something new to market.
All right. Ma'am, if you're new to this conversation, you're just meeting Vanessa Stonehouse for the first time, please follow her at Mindful Honey, Be Mindful Honey _ honey.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that. You can see and hear tag her while she's here. If you haven't followed Chef Sesabek Randall, please do so. You know where I'm at if you want to look me up if you haven't followed yet. This has been such a um, nourishing, I'm going to say, inspiring conversation that I feel we really tapped into the theme of World World Bee Day, right? I don't even know if people realize it's
I
World
don't
Bee Day, but
think
we
so.
love. Yeah, I don't think so. I think, we love one thing about Plantish. We like to bring the news first before it even is hot off the press. We know you're a busy woman. We thank you. We send you your flowers. We just look forward to staying connected, having you come back when the
I would
time
love
is
to.
right for you.
Yes.
Yes, and maybe Chef will get Asha and Vanessa on
That'd be
together.
so fun. I would love that. I mean, we should book a 2 hour for that one because Ash and I can talk forever. We're like just so, I mean, yeah, we've just been doing business alongside each other for so long, from her being the only other vegan meal delivery service. She started the same way. We both went to CBG at the same time. We both had the same broker kind of accidentally. We're just kind of like meant to do this path together. So we have so many things in common and so many things to talk about all the time. I was just on the phone with her before this call.
I love having partners in success.
You can't,
Chef
I
Sesabek
can't
is
do it without those
mine.
people.
No.
Honestly, it's like those are your, your cheerleaders and your friends. They want to help as much as they can, and I know my friends always do. But the people who are actually going through the like trenches with you really understand kind of what's going on, and it's so nice to have those people to lean on. I couldn't do it without them.
Yes. Yes, I agree. Chef Sesabek, what are your thoughts right now? How are you going to send us off into our brilliance for everyone to go, being inspired by Venessa Stonehouse, the co-founder and CEO of Be Mindful Food,
Hmm.
makers of Be Mindful
Hmm.
Honey. Say that 10
I
times. I'm
know.
trying to get those marbles out my mouth. Good
I know.
Lord.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. This conversation has been so enriching. If you're just now getting here, I would advise you to please go back to the very beginning and watch this entire thing 3 times because so many gems were dropped. Vanessa, you're amazing. Your story is so inspiring, and I'm sending you so much love and just prosperity as you continue this journey. I look forward to going in every store and seeing this honey on the shelves.
Me too.
And yeah, I'm hungry, so it's lunchtime. It's almost 1 o'clock over here, so I'm about to go whip up something really quick.
Perfect
So
timing.
yes, you guys,
Please take me
you
in
know
your
where to find me.
meal.
Oh,
I want to know what you made.
yes, yes. Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's like my favorite part is just seeing how creative people get. I mean, even like I said, when it's like a simple meal, it's just like neat to see how different people use it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Absolutely. But you guys, you know where to find us next week. Same time, same place. And yeah, just make sure you're taking care of your mind and your body
Yes,
always.
thank you, Chef, my partner in success. Thank you, Vanessa. Fam, we know you could be anywhere and you've chosen to be with us. Even those of you that are going to watch our replay when we post it up, which you know we'll do, and then we do clips you'll find in our stories of the highlights that pop up. But walk in your brilliance. Be mindful of Be World Day and be mindful and be inspired by nature to nourish us all. Have some tea like Chef is having with his organic rescued apples, honey, and let's just, have a little sweetness in our lives, especially in the climate we're all living in. So thank you all. We're going to sign off now. Watch for the replay. I will post it. And please chat if you see it come through. Please leave your thoughts and what you took away from this conversation, because usually when we sign off is when all the ideas and thoughts really come in. And any questions you have for Vanessa, it never ends when we stop our live. It's just beginning because we really like sharing food for thought. So thank you all. Hello, good cake, Fran, my friend Fran. All right, everybody. Have a good day.
Thank you so much
Bye.
for having me.
Thank you,
Bye.
Vanessa, for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.